with the Palo Alto Vato. My name is Josh, and let's jump into it. Basically, I'm going to talk about ACC tab and monitor tab. And this is part of my tribal knowledge series. Basically, I just want to give y'all an overview of what I've seen in the field while deploying firewalls for customers, and what helps me manage the firewalls a lot easier. And so my firewall that I'm going to be managing is on PANOS 9.1.4. And let's jump into this. So basically, I want to talk about using the ACC tab and the different traffic threat and URL unified logs to investigate threats. And specifically, I want to do and focus on the ACC tab. Additionally, I want to showcase how it works for an investigation. Basically, just going to show global stuff. That's SHIT/stuff. And so I made up that stuff there. Things such as timeframes and how to add to the global filters on the left-hand side of the ACC tab. And we'll get into that here shortly. After that, I want to use the destination activity in the ACC tab and show you how easy it is that we can jump to the logs. And then basically I'll show you some threat signatures that I imported using an iron skillet. And then I'll put up some more videos for insights and tribal knowledge, and more videos to come. So how to customize column view once we're in the traffic threat and URL logs, things that I do to improve my investigation efforts. And these are things that I talk to my customers to do to help them when they're looking at logs, such as adding source country and destination country. And then lastly, we'll see what creating custom regions look like and the benefits of that. For me, I think the logs look a lot better. And it's easier to filter out when you're kind of creating custom filters up at the top to kind of parse through the logs. And we could also use the custom regions and security policies and different policies for that matter, not just security. But anyways, let's go and take a look. As you can see, I have my ACC tab up in my Palo Alto VM. And I'm looking, this is just generic, standard, out of the box, nothing changed from the view. And right from the top, we can see top left is usually how I start looking at anything. So the time view, this is the last hour. This is globally. Basically what that does is within the last hour, it's going to look at application usage, user activity, source IP activity, destination IP activity, and so on and so forth. If I scroll down here, it shows you a little bit more. And the same thing with if I change the tabs here within the ACC tab of threat activity, blocked activity, tunnel activity, global protect activity. But I'm just going to focus on network activity. So this is all the information within the last hour. Basically, if I wanted to change that, you can do 12 hours, 24 hours, 7 days, 30 days. Granted, the further back in time you get, the more time it'll take for this GUI or this user interface to present meaningful information. So just be aware of that. And this is a really good tool to use it when you're investigating threats. I know a lot of people just bypass ACC tab altogether and they're looking at, traffic logs, threat logs, URL logs, and so on and so forth. And so convincing. Threat logs, super simple, right? You could basically just look at these logs and get an idea of what's happening. In my case, I'll change this view from 20 to 100 just to kind of see what we have. This firewall in particular is behind another firewall, so I probably won't see too many actions other than alerts. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at my firewall here. Maybe I'll show my gateway firewall in other videos. But going back into the ACC tab, because that's what I want to focus on, I want to show you how to use the ACC tab and what works for an investigation. So I've already talked about time frame. Let's go and look at some things that I like to do to add to this global filter. And global filters are right here. You can manually add things in here. Me, I like clicking because I'm super lazy. So if I scroll down on the network activity, I'm looking at destination IP activity. If you see this little arrow that's pointing to the left, and if you hover over it, it says add a global filter. So if I do that, you can see it drops it into the global filter as a destination address. When that happens, essentially we get all of our views within the last hour only, and it'll only be filtered on this destination address. And that would be everything across the board from network activity, threat activity, blocked activity, and so forth. And we can see right up the top, it's WebSockets, Traps Management Service, which is Cortex XDR. I have on a couple of my machines, which I can post some videos over that. Just let me know what you guys want to talk about. But what I like doing is always kind of looking at destination IP activity. If you start seeing some weird activity, going to unknown destination addresses or destination countries, that's when you start getting worried. So I'm a big fan of adding in source and destination in everything that I look at. So you can see my source IP address. It's a private subnet here, 192.168.101.99. And it looks like this dude's trying to go to some Google user content. So we could add that to the global filter, but instead, I'm just going to take a look at these threats here. And it looks like it's a vulnerability, but let's go and actually jump to the logs, which is this little icon over here. Oh, and it's not only specific to destination IP activity. You can jump to any of these logs, clicking on that same icon within the little tile here. But let's keep going with the destination activity, destination IP activity, forgive me. And let's go jump to the logs. And when we do that, we have the choice to look at the traffic logs, threat logs, all the other different logs that pretty much Palo Alto offers. But let's just, for all intents and purposes, jump to the threat log. And we can see the name of the log, the name of the thread, excuse me. It's HTTP 200. I know that this is a custom vulnerability that I stole from an iron skillet that Palo Alto presents and offers on GitHub, on a GitHub project. And I'll send the link in the description. But if we look at this, we know the application's Traps Manager, so it's pretty legit. And you know, action set to alert, so that's good. What I like doing whenever I'm in this view here I like to add a little bit more context. And in fact, this is with every single view, whether that be traffic, URL, any one of these logs. What I like doing is going back into the thread. I like to add in columns. So this little drop down arrow next to any one of these columns. And then we'd select columns, and then I like to put source country and destination country. You might have to scroll down a little bit more to find source country, but I was using this earlier before I made this video, so they're up here. Cool. Now that we have our source country and destination country selected, I just like to push this over so it makes a little bit more sense. So you can see right off the bat that we're going to the United States, right? Which is good. You know, I'm in the US, so basically some folks just like anything but deny everything but the US. So, but still, that's still bad practice just because adversaries use AWS and Google Cloud Services and Azure data centers to carry on the nefarious acts. But regardless, this right here is what I like to do when I'm investigating. So we can just basically filter out on destination country and source country. Look how ugly this source country is, just because it's the private RFC 1918 space. What I like to do, and I highly recommend all of my customers to do, is to create custom regions. Not only will it make this view look better, but it's easier to filter out if you have different subnets. So how that works essentially is a custom region, and that'll be under objects, and we'll click on region, and we'll create one. And crap, I forgot the subnet, but I think it's 101/24, and I'll copy that because this is the name. So tribal knowledge trust. And basically I'll add that here in there. Let's say okay. I'm gonna hit commit, and we'll wait for this. I'm just gonna go double check my subnet really quick. I think I was a little quick on the draw. Yep, 192.168.101.9. Let me just make sure. So 192.168.101.0/24. That should cover it. All right, so once that goes and commits, we'll look at this traffic. And in fact, I don't know if we'll be able to catch another vulnerability since it's 11:42. When was this? Yeah, it's a while back. But we'll see. And let me just clear this crap out. And we give it some time. What is it, 11:41? It's 11:42 now. Let's go and look over here. I'll do the same thing here. For the traffic logs, basically, now I have to find my source user, but here's destination country right there. So I add that guy in. And then go down to my source country, boom. And slowly, as logs roll in, we can see that now the source country is set to tribal knowledge -- trust network instead of the ugly 1918 Class C delimiter here. But so it's simple enough. So when you're looking at traffic logs, you can use that as a filter. So N is equal to not equal to, right? And we're looking at stuff that doesn't look to it, that's not associated with it. And granted, it's pulling all the stuff that didn't have a source country beforehand. And then if we go back to threats, let's see if we got new threats a lot rolling in, and we don't. But regardless, I think y'all see the benefit of it just using the traffic logs and adding this tribal knowledge custom region. So it helps looking at logs. One of the good benefits as well, not only making it look nice and pretty, but is also you can use these custom regions in security policies or any policies for that matter. So for example, if I just use a destination or a source address, and if I just kind of write out tribal knowledge, and there it is right there. But yeah, I think that does it for this video. I hope it was informative. Go ahead and comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think and what topics I should do later. Thank you guys. Have a good day.